Oh no, that's history. That's plantation politics. All right? On the plantation, those who became the offspring of the masters, who were obviously more appealing in color, all right, meaning they were not as African and as obvious, received the benefits of the master. Also received the benefits of what society in general felt was easier to deal with. So those are all plantation politics. That comes straight out of slavery.
This is not restricted to the African American community. There are other communities around the world that also have that. For example, in India, there is a caste system many times determined by the color of your skin. In the Hispanic community, that's also one where they differentiate between black Cubans and white Cubans and black Puerto Ricans and white Puerto Ricans, as if there is some significant difference.
I just never really understood why lighter complected people would not embrace the darker complected people and vice versa, because it seemed to me it happened to all of us, and our perpetuating this tension, does nothing to building us up. Because I was born in 1959, as I got into my preteen, teen years, everybody's striving to have a afro, and it's, the darker you are, the prouder you are, kind of, so to speak. And I was felt definitely ostracized during that time period.
And because, like I said, if I went to a predominantly black school, it was like almost we were doing it to ourselves, kind of like, oh, you're dark. You're like, okay, like when me and my friends would play Farrah Fawcett, Charlie's Angels, I was always going to be Farrah Fawcett or Jacqueline Smith because I had the long hair. And we'd put like one of our dark-skinned friends, oh, you're Sabrina, you're darker, you're shorter hair,
I've encountered it more as an adult than I did growing up. I've had people ask me what was my nationality, because of the color of my skin and the color of my eyes. And I would say, why? Don't I look black? And they said, yes and no. I said, well, what's the difference? Well, your skin is lighter and your eyes are more like white people.
I was absolutely targeted. I went to Florida A&M University, historically black college, and it was my first time in Florida, and I think that there were probably a greater group of people who did not understand the dynamics of people coming from a heritage of mixed races. And I was called white girl. I was, people threw ice at me. I mean, it was really a very, it wasn't a pleasant experience. So.
And also the saying, oh, you're pretty, for a dark-skinned girl. Yeah, I never gotten told that, but I know that's something I would hear a lot, either happen to someone personally or come in like discussion topics.
Our looks often convey certain things. Like, I've had people, one person in particular over the last few years, say to me, you exude sex appeal. Or sex appeal, I think she says. I'm like, what am I doing? And obviously, looking at the whole person, she sees something. She sees something that she believes the world sees or reacts to that I don't see and I don't feel walking around the planet. But people make assumptions that her life must be this way by virtue of how she looks.
During my time as a child, growing up, as I said, in a predominantly African American community, there was something different about me. Though my skin was certainly a darker brown, my hair was not in the standard texture of many of my colleagues. So there was something different. I often got asked, well, what are you and where are you from? And as I grew up, I have a little mole in the front of my head, and people just sometimes think, is she from India? Or is she from some other spot? She just can't be African American from Chicago.
Black women are represented on TV, but not equally to other races. And when we're represented, we're very good at it. But they still tend to hold back and put someone else where we should be playing a particular role.
No, I don't think so. I think for a black woman to do any kind of advertising, she pretty much has to be light-skinned. I mean, what black, dark-skinned woman do you see that advertises something? Maybe Jennifer Hudson, Weight Watchers. She's about the darkest one I know of. But I mean, you really don't see dark women advertising anything.
I think so, like now, because I see like a bunch of African American women like on like billboards and like modeling and stuff, so I think they are. And of course there's like Beyonce.
I feel like there's a better effort to do that today. Equal, no, and in that, when they do the shading, to me, are they really getting the variety of the colors?
No, not even remotely, because they still defer to the pretty light straight hair, okay? The one that approximates what the dominant norm is, what the Western norm is. I mean, if you look at women in Asia, if you look at women in Africa, they're all trying to conform to this stereotypical notion, you understand, of what's appealing, what's beautiful. You know, first of all, you know, not only do you have to have long hair, be light, pretty, okay, preferably with greenish to blue eyes, gray eyes, all right, most appealing, sexy, exotic, okay, catering to those kinds of fantasies. Women will go to extraordinary ends to try to achieve that look, doing horrible, damaging things.
I think that there are people who are going to always be trapped in a certain mindset, and we will never be perceived as beautiful to them. I think there's another element that can celebrate the beauty and the diversity of black women, because there is such an enormous variety.
No. Mm-mm. I don't think America's ready for the black women to be considered beautiful.
We are a beautiful race. No matter what shade of color we are beautiful women in many, many, many categories. And I do see quite a few of us represented in ads, beauty ads, you know, for cosmetics and dress wear.
I think society is like getting there. I think there's a lot of attempts to really emphasize natural beauty.
That they would be happier with the more exoticized black woman, okay? The one that arouses their fantasies, their curiosities, which have nothing to do with the intelligence that these women embody or have the possibility to exude within a larger arena. We are still very conflicted. We are a very conflicted society. Only insecure people, all right, find a way that color becomes so important. And color as an issue is predicated on somebody else's perception.
My own skin, I never felt light-skinned. I don't think of myself that way. I walk around the world black. And while I may walk right next to someone who's lighter than me or see someone coming toward me, I never think of myself as contrasting with her. Nor do I feel that way when I see a darker skinned
I
woman.
think one important thing is I got probably from my mother, who got from her grandmother, that you always were proud of the skin that you lived in. And I think as you become more of an adult and go through those teenage years and trying to find yourself, you're proud of the skin color that you have, even though there may be advertisements that go around that say, well, you're maybe not quite the same. You're not as pretty. You're not because of the color of your skin. You've learned that you have a sense of pride, and you feel that you're just as attractive as anybody else.
No, there are people paying to be darker. You know, it seems like what nobody's ever, you know, totally satisfied or totally comfortable. The grass is always greener.
If it's not colorism, it'll be something else. People are insecure. People just, because of the nature of our social structures right now, our political structures, the fact that there are too many people who don't know what unconditional love is and acceptance, that they're always going to find something as an
I
excuse.
think certain stereotypes are hard to change. I think that takes years and years of change. And I think certainly within the individual races, I think they have to set aside those biases.
I would hope so, but I doubt it. But because I feel like there will always be racism and ignorance towards color, but because of that ignorance, that influences the continuing of colorism.